What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. In this episode, we'll be previewing the Melbourne Collingwood. Oof, what a huge game on Friday night. Let's get into it. So just before we do get into it, this is actually a special episode because it's the first episode that it's been sponsored pretty much. And it's sponsored by KONDA Apparel, a local Melbourne brand that's up and coming. Huge Swoop fans. I've been talking to these creators for a while, and they sent me this awesome long sleeve, this nice little beanie. You can see their logo here, and it's pretty cool. Pom pom, you know, just how a beanie is, keeps your head warm. But what I love this long sleeve. This will go perfect underneath that windbreaker, the Collingwood windbreaker. If you're on my Instagram, check it out. But they're up and coming, they're Melbourne, they're Collingwood supporters, so if you can, give them some love. They're at KONDAapparel.com. If you use Swoop5 at checkout, you get 5% off the cart, which is awesome. I'll leave the links down below, but that's KONDA Apparel. I think, yeah, it's really cool. It's really warm, perfect under a jacket or something, off to the footy in the winter, especially in August when we're going to be playing all our games in the cold. So, yeah, good on them. Thank you so much, Konda, for the support, and let's get into this preview. So, on Friday night, Collingwood take on Melbourne in a huge clash. The Pies come off 10 wins in a row. Melbourne come off a really good win against Fremantle and kind of just stamp their authority on the competition again. It is a battle for, I think, a Sydney win, but pretty much outright second place, barring whatever happens with in the Sydney game. But this is huge for a lot of reasons. Huge because we've won 10 in a row by, you know, little margins, and winning's winning. That's exactly what it is. Winning's winning. You still have to compete to be able to win, you know what I mean? But also, because now these last 3 rounds, we are coming up against some really good opposition. Melbourne, Sydney, and then Carlton to end the year. 3 really good teams. And now is the time where we see what these Collingwood Magpies are made of. You know, are we just putting away teams that are, you know, around us on the ladder, the sort of bottom 10 teams? Yes, we did put away Melbourne earlier in the year, Fremantle, and then Carlton as well. This is the inverse now. Can we do it? And, you know, I reckon we're playing better football now than we were earlier when we did beat Melbourne by, I think it was 26 points. So it's going to be very interesting. In this game, though, the thing that I find most interesting, one is that Melbourne are, you know, pretty much at full pelt now with their personnel. Last time we played them, they didn't have Stephen May. May's back. Jackson is going to play, even though he had a concussion test, but he's going to be fine. Gawn is back to some of his best form. Petrarca, Viney's. It is their premiership side is pretty much who we're going to be versing on Friday night, and it's just going to be a good test to see how we're going, especially without Taylor Adams, who is a huge loss in and under. You would think, we'll talk a little bit about the ins and outs maybe, or who comes in and out maybe a bit later, but you would think that Josh Carmichael would come in for Tay. But we are going to, like I said, see what the Pies are made of, and I think, look, if we can just keep with them, I think we can win, because we did beat them earlier, and they pretty much had a similar team, maybe with just Stephen May out. They were coming off the back of a couple of losses as well, and we kind of capitalised on that. But we are going to need to play our very best to beat these Demons. The thing with Melbourne, and if you've watched them over the last year or two, is that they're a very quick side. They're kind of like what we're trying to be at the moment, where it's just, you know, quick, play on, go. Not a very high-marking team. Good pressure team as well, and obviously good around the clearances. That's one thing that they did well against Fremantle. One, they stopped their inside 50s. They only let Fremantle have it inside their 50 40 or so times, whereas they had it 60 times. They capitalised on stoppages, obviously with Gordon Jackson there, and, you know, feeding it to Petrarca, Viney, Oliver and stuff like that. But the week before against the Western Bulldogs laid more tackles, so when the pressure came on Melbourne, they kind of stopped a little bit. And the Bulldogs actually won clearances, not centre clearances, they won stoppage clearances around the ground by quite a lot. And that was with, you know, Jackson and Gawn. So that's 2 areas that we really need to one-up Melbourne in. pressure, and we know we're a very good pressure side, but if you see what Melbourne did to Fremantle last week, they just left Fremantle with like pretty much no options anywhere around the ball. So pressure, when it's there, we've got to hit them hard, and we've got to get better at our clearances. Now, in saying that, like I said, no Taylor Adams. He's leading our clearances at the moment. Jordan De Goey back in really helps us in that area. We have got to get better at our clearances. And even if it's centre, stoppage, whatever it may be, it is just a weakness in our game that we just need to get better at if we want to do damage in the finals. You got to think that last week we didn't have Brody Mychek playing, so if he could do some running, and he hasn't been running for about 5 or so days, Collingwood said, if he can do some running and get back into it, he is an automatic walk-up into the team. Maybe he takes Ash Johnson's spot, but Taylor Adams coming out. Carmichael was the medi-sub, super sub. I'd love to see how he goes as an inside mid. If they don't go with Carmichael, which I think they will, but we do have some other VFL options. Callum Brown, and I know Callum Brown, and there was a lot of talk about it on Twitter, but his best position is as an inside mid. And we kind of saw that, I think it was last year? I'm pretty sure it was last year against Richmond, where he played most of his time in the midfield as an inside mid. He's been smashing it in the VFL with clearances and stuff. Tyler is not that sort of inside midfielder, but Finn McRae as well. He has been racking up good VFL game after good VFL game, and you've got to reward that. I know he signed on, but you still have to reward that. But is it harsh for Carmichael to get dropped after being, a super sub for so long? It's not really on me to say, but I would. It's hard. I think I would actually, give Josh Carmichael just a run in the best 22. Maybe put Finn McRae or maybe put Callum Brown as the medical sub. At least they're there, and if something happens, they can jump in. But I think Carmichael does deserve, not even deserve, he's earned his spot in the best 22. Another pretty interesting stat that I want to make mention of is that Melbourne this season has ranked first in least opponent points per game, and ranked second in least opponent inside 50s per game. So their defense is really, really, really good. And Collingwood in the last 10 rounds, ever since Nathan Murphy got a call up, is the number 1 ranked defense. So it's going to be the battle of the defenses and who holds up the most, because we know we can defend really well. Melbourne defend super well. God, it is going to be... It's hard to predict. And I know I come on here and I usually predict, but it is hard to predict this game. God, it's going to be insane. Either way, win or lose, it is going to be an insane game. I did ask you on Instagram, though, what do you want to see versus Melbourne on Friday night? So I'm going to read a couple of my favourite ones. Victoria Barnett says, 11 in a row, baby. And, that would be very, very good. Barbershop Media says, De Goey dominates, Ginny kicks 6, which will be another good. Teen Instagram says, Dacos domination. We know how good Josh and Nick have been, so I think that's coming. That's coming. Adam_Erden says, to win by 13 points. A lot of 11 in a rows, a lot of 11 in a rows. A lot of Carmichael to play, which, we talked about earlier in this video. A lot of Guinea. Courtney Rose Hodak says, a good bloody win. And, God, that's exactly what I want. Sposter_app says, Carmichael in the starting 18. There's just so many Carmichael loves in the chat. And finally, Dars19 says, a big fat W, please and thank you. Thank you for all your submissions. There is a lot, and I'll post more on my Instagram. Now, my predictions. I think Collingwood are going to win. Of course I think Collingwood are going to win. I think we might win by... God. I think we might win by 17 points. Just under 3 goals, or a touch under 3 goals. I think this Collingwood team is going to learn lessons over the last 4 weeks, and they're just going to come out and dominate Melbourne from start to finish. I can feel it in my gut. I'm probably wrong, but I can feel it. I can definitely feel something in my gut. So let's hope it's the right prediction. And I think Jordan De Goey and Mason Cox are going to have a field day. But let me know your thoughts down below. As always, love to hear your thoughts. Again, shout out to KONDA, Swoop 5 at the cart, KONDAapparel.com to get 5% off. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.